All new Hyundai Tucson, just $239 a month.
Huskies All Access, tonight at 7:30, only on News Channel 8.
A look at downtown Hartford, Connecticut, where today it's game number 4 for UConn since Hall of Fame coach Jim Calhoun decided to take a leave of absence for health reasons. The Huskies are 2-1 in those contests, looking to bounce back from a loss to Providence on Wednesday night. They'll do so against a Marquette team lighting it up from the outside as the Golden Eagles lead the nation shooting from 3. It's the Big East Network Game of the Week, next. Welcome to the PNC Big East Network Game of the Week. This afternoon, we're inside the XL Center in Hartford, Connecticut, the home away from home for the UConn Huskies, ranked number 19 in the country. And today, the Huskies play host to the Golden Eagles of Marquette. A year ago, Connecticut enjoyed another 30-win season. Marquette posted 25. Today, both schools find themselves in the bottom half of the Big East standings. A win for Marquette, they would climb to 4-5. UConn with a victory would be back at 500 at 4-4. Hi, everybody, along with the one-time Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, Mike Kelly. I'm Mike Gleason. As always, it's great to have you with us here on the Big East Network Game of the Week. And, Mike, it's only January 30th, I realize, but I think it's safe to say that this is a must-win situation for both of these schools.
You know, I couldn't agree with you more, and I don't like to use the term must-win for either team, but you look at UConn after the highest of highs, beating number 1 ranked Texas, then they lose on the road to Providence. They're trying to find that consistency. And for Marquette, this is a team that's running out of opportunities to get that signature win on the NCAA tournament resume. This is an opportunity today.
So who is feeling the warm glow of Mike Kelly's Star Watch today?
Well, I'm going to go on the inside. A couple of great inside-outside threats on both teams. We'll see if they match up against each other. Stanley Robinson for UConn, a very athletic player inside. This year, though, shooting from the outside, the best three-point percentage shooter on the UConn team. Shows you his ability to step out and also the ability to crash the glass. Stanley Robinson, they call him Sticks, a very athletic player inside. And for Marquette, Lazar Hayward. You watch him in the middle of this zone. He's got great poise. He's the senior. He's the leader. He can get inside, crash the glass, much like Stanley Robinson. But what separates him is he's a dead-eye shooter from 3. He steps out. He forces the defense to defend him on the arc. You take a look at their numbers. Hayward over 18 points per game, 6 in the Big East. And Stanley Robinson just under 17, puts him at 10th in the Big East.
On Tuesday night, Marquette rolled over the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers after beating Texas a week ago. UConn lost to Providence. Which Husky team shows up? Stick around and find out. Today's Big East Network game is brought to you by PNC, leading the way. Champion, it's how you play. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Welcome back to Hartford. Inside the XL Center, UConn getting ready to face up against the Golden Eagles of Marquette. Let's check the starting lineups brought to you by Interstate Batteries. First of all, for the visiting Marquette squad, Maurice Acker, Darius Johnson-Odom, currently 1-2 in the Big East with 3-point shooting percentage. Lazar Hayward paces this team, 18 points, 7.5 rebounds. Jimmy Butler coming off a 16-point performance Tuesday against Rutgers. And for the Huskies of UConn, Kemba Walker, the sophomore, number 1 in the Big East in assists. Jerome Dyson leads the team in scoring at 19 points a game. Stanley Robinson, 15 double-doubles in his career, 17-12 against Texas a week ago, and they upset the number 1 team in the country, Mike.
Now, Glee, it's not easy to get anything past you. Did you know UConn has only won 2 tips this year?
Really?
Only 2. Surprising for a team that blocks so many shots.
Wow, that is a nugget. 2 tips. Well, here we go. Hayward and Majuk step in the circle right now. You saw the officials just moments ago, and this basketball game is underway. The Huskies control the opening tip.
Make that 3. There you go. You don't get any points for it, though. Let's watch UConn work in the half court. This is something that has bothered them. A much more comfortable team running in the full court transition game.
Dyson turns the corner, and Dyson, averaging 19, gets the first bucket.
Good to see him go inside, too. I think some of the stories around their loss at Providence was Dyson hitting some outside shots early and maybe settling them later in the game. George Blaney calling a little bit of fool's gold, perhaps.
That's a great point. You know, it's funny, they say he can take it to the rim probably more, whereas Kemba Walker should probably learn to pull up and take a 12-foot jumper once in a while. Oh, so good at transition, aren't they?
How about the ability from Jerome Dyson to corral that ball? One hand, it looked like Larry Fitzgerald on the break, and Kemba Walker's so good with the vision.
Getting close to Super Bowl time, I guess, huh?
Tell you what, I should have said Greg Jennings from Wisconsin. Got a Marquette team playing.
Hayward. Acker. Boy, if he had a three, it didn't last very long. The open shot. Down to 10 on the shot clock now for Marquette. David Kubiak kicks it back out. That extra pass, the southpaw, Johnson Odom. Yes, he rings it up. And that's going to be number 46 for him this year.
Did you notice the great ball movement by Marquette as UConn really tests you and gets out, even after a made basket, but Marquette sharing the basketball so well. Inside, outside, ball reversal, and kicks it for a three.
How about Kelly's keys for UConn?
My keys for UConn: disrupt the rhythm shooting. You saw Marquette get one in the last possession and then score in transition. This UConn team is dynamic out in the open court, not quite as good in half court.
George Blaney coaching the fourth game this year without Jim Calhoun. Over the years, he's 6-4 in Coach Calhoun's absence. Johnson Odom. Hayward. That's a three.
It's a big shot for Marquette. Lazar Hayward, a very good outside shooter. And one of the keys for Marquette, so I didn't put it in my keys for Marquette, is to pull the bigs from UConn away from the basket. Lazar Hayward, first couple possessions, has lived around the three-point line trying to draw Majuk away.
You know, Mike, Providence did that so well, and they slipped inside for 8 second-half dunks. Are we going to see that with Marquette, do you think?
Well, they certainly will try to do that. UConn trying to defend on the perimeter a little bit better, find those shooters, but as you try and find shooters, you get stretched out and allow the dribble penetration.
Majuk with the offensive stick back. Over the last 2 games, Oriaki and Majuk have combined for 10 points. Trying to look for a little more offense out of the bigs here.
Exactly what I'm talking about here. Butler putting it on the floor, going right around Oriaki.
And Jimmy Butler's foul. He'll be going to the line. See Buzz Williams and Kelly's keys now for the Golden Eagles.
Well, you need a team rebounding effort by Marquette. UConn, a bigger team, and they love to get out. They can't get out in transition if they don't rebound the basketball. And then, as always with Buzz Williams, you see him there. He talks about getting and defending paint touches. Perhaps even more important in this game is getting those paint touches. As you talked about, Providence was so good at getting inside, the dribble penetration. Coach George Blaney telling us he was not pleased with that perimeter defense, and they really carved him up in the second half, late in that second half.
There's Buzz in his second year. You saw Gavin Edwards coming off the bench. Didn't take long, huh? For Gavin Edwards to come in 17-13 to go here in the first half. Edwards pulls down the rebound. I'm glad you brought that up about Marquette, because you think of the threes as Oriaki gets inside. That's what UConn's looking for, more inside presence. And look how quickly Marquette comes down. The whistle and one the conventional way.
It's a nice job by Darius Johnson Odom getting out in transition. Marquette didn't do a good job getting back defensively in transition. And it's sort of a catch-22. You play a team like UConn, so good at getting up and down the court. So naturally you think, well, we got to slow them down. But at the same time, this Marquette team is not afraid to get out and run. They're very good in the open court as well. So you don't want to give up some of your strengths just to try and take one away from the other team.
And running so well on a made basket. There's George Blaney. 460 wins as a head coach. Let's keep in mind that Coach Blaney coached at Stonehill, Dartmouth, Holy Cross for 22 years, Seton Hall for 3 years. 460 wins all time as a head coach. Beat St. John's, knocked off Texas when they're #1, and then a disappointing loss to Providence on Wednesday night.
A great guy, great demeanor. Came over and shook our hands. Had a nice talk with him in pregame.
Another unforced error for the Huskies. It goes out of the hands of Dyson. That's 2 turnovers now for George Blaney's Huskies. George Blaney said he really appreciates all the well-wishers, but he can't wait for Jim Calhoun to come back. He says, let's face it, guys, we're talking about a guy who won 818 games, and he's a Hall of Fame coach. Marquette 3 of 4 shooting the rock here so far this afternoon. UConn 4 of 5. So we might see these two teams lighten it up, buddy.
Yeah, both teams can score. We saw UConn turn the ball over. If there's one thing that they do a little too much in the half court, it's not take care of the basketball.
Butler misfires. A good positioning. Oriaki pulls down the rebound. He averages 8. Dyson puts that shoulder down, and the foul is going to go against Marquette. Jimmy Butler and the block.
I agree with you, Mike. Jerome Dyson in transition here kind of created the contact as Jimmy Butler just sort of running alongside him. Dyson's so quick. Tough to defend him in the open court. Like Dyson might have cracked his head on the way down.
But they say Dyson, when he takes it to the rack, though, he's a straight line guy. There's another foul going against Marquette. And number 21, this is going to be Joseph Fultz, picks up his first. Remember Jerry Wainwright, when he was coaching at DePaul, says when Dyson has the ball, he reminds him of a running back trying to bolt his way into the end zone. He doesn't turn that corner like so many of you guys did. He's a straight line guy.
He's so quick. He can go either direction. And I think what separates him is his great ability from outside. He can shoot the three, really stretch you out as a defender. You can't just take away his drive. He can beat you over the top.
Oriaki, the 6'9", 240-pound freshman, a 48% shooter from the stripe. Hits 1 of 2. And he's got 3 in the ball game. Let me finish that thought, Mike. You're talking about touches in the paint for Marquette. You think of the threes. They're the #1 team in the country shooting the rock from long range, but Buzz stresses the touches in the paint and defense. He's a big defensive guy. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I've had several talks with him about this team and being such a great three-point shooting squad. That wasn't the game plan necessarily. He said as long as they do this, get inside on the dribble.
Fultz almost had the stick back, and Edwards rips down his second rebound.
But Buzz is okay with them shooting the threes as long as they come on a good offensive possession and they get inside and they kick it out for 3.
This one's going against the freshman Alex Oriaki. So we're going to take a timeout inside 16 minutes right now. Marquette on the road by 1 over UConn. Whether it's home or on the road, Marquette can knock down that three-point ball.
They certainly can. 2 of 2 from beyond the arc. You see nice ball rotation here after it goes inside, outside, and side, top side here. You get the Lazar Hayward. Marquette is 2 of 2 beyond the arc.
All right, Mike, let's take a look at our Big East leaders brought to you by PNC, leading the way, and Marquette leads the way from long range.
Yeah, look how good they're shooting at over 43%. That actually leads the nation in three-point field goal percentage.
43, #1 in the country. Iowa State, you'll have those guys next week, so you get to see a lot of long range.
They're going to need it playing Kansas State. Kansas State with a big game today against Kansas.
Ivy League lightening up as well. Cornell, Columbia, Buzz Williams, his team actually shooting 46% in conference play. But keep in mind, the UConn Huskies are #1 in the Big East defending the 3. The opposition only hitting 29%, but as Mike said, Marquette already off to a good start at 2 for 2.
Here's the matchup. Butler trying to be able to put it on the floor, stretch the big man out for UConn.
Wednesday night, UConn, after taking a lead, watched Providence close the game with a 26-6 run as Butler gets the rebound. The foul, he's going back to the line. Jimmy Butler, a 78% shooter. Foul goes against Ukwandu, a 7-foot junior.
Nice job by Jimmy Butler inside. This UConn team gave up 24 offensive rebounds in their loss against Providence. Marquette not known necessarily as a team that crashes the offensive glass with the best of them in the country, but when you play in this game and you're trying to slow UConn down, one way you can do it is get on the offensive glass, not let them get those defensive rebounds and outlets for transition.
Well, Providence did a great job with the offensive rebound. 24 offensive rebounds Wednesday against this UConn team. And Jimmy Butler goes 1 for 2. We got Jimmy Butler averaging 5.5 points last year. Gavin Edwards averaging about 2 or 3 points last year for UConn. And these two might be battling for most improved player in the Big East Conference.
Yeah, both very well deserving.
Feeding the post. Big men are getting their touches for UConn. Ukwandu misses the shot, and he kicks it back out. Robinson with the shot, but not before the whistle.
I think they're going to get a 3-second on Ukwandu. He just didn't vacate the post. The missed shot, though. You mentioned UConn big men getting their opportunities inside. sometimes converting. I like the game plan, though. Go inside. Marquette, not the biggest team you'll face. Try and get some easy buckets at the rim.
That's 4 turnovers now for UConn so far this afternoon. They come in averaging just shy of 16. Hayward launches a rainmaker, doesn't go down, and Mashuk comes up with a basketball. Hayward was 2 for 2 on Tuesday night from long range for Marquette.
Again, a touch in the post for UConn. Nice pass.
Ater Mashuk.
Boy, what doesn't Gavin Edwards do, though? He can defend, he can get on the glass. Shows that he can score and pass the ball as well when the double team comes.
I really admire his patience. Oh, high off the window. Nice shot by Bikes.
Yeah, Bikes will put pressure on you. He's very comfortable putting the ball on the floor, trying to get to the rim for Marquette.
Little touch pass. Mashuk takes the 17-footer, and it goes out of bounds, and it's going to be Marquette basketball. As we check out some Big East news and notes, you see 3 teams in the top 10. And Villanova 8-0 in the Big East. That's their best start in school history. And Nova might or could become the #1 team in the country.
You know, Villanova playing great basketball at Syracuse. I listened to John Thompson III talk about Syracuse and how good they're playing. He thinks they're playing the best basketball of anybody in the country.
Yeah, Mick Cronin from Cincinnati said on a neutral court, Syracuse could beat anyone.
When they play that zone, they can really bother you. It's a tough thing to prepare for if you're not used to it. I think Syracuse can make a run in the tourney.
A little hop, skip, and a jump inside. A little air ball by Acker. Well, it's tough to go in there when you're 5'7", 5'8", and you got all those big trees. Kemba Walker. And Hayward will pick up the foul, but you know, Mike, earlier in January, Jim Calhoun said Kemba Walker is a racehorse. There's no doubt he's super in transition, but sometimes he can be a racehorse with blinders on. But George Blaney said that's slowly being corrected.
You know what? I see Kemba Walker, what I see is a player not quite as developed as a Ty Lawson for Carolina. You watch Ty Lawson, he was so quick with the basketball. And early in his career, I think he just looked to push the ball, get inside, didn't look for his shot, didn't have the shot there. Kemba Walker kind of in the same mold. I think if we can see Walker develop that three-point shot, what a weapon he could be for this UConn team. I think he could develop into the type of player that Lawson was for Carolina.
Jim Calhoun says Walker, he just smells that rim. Sometimes he could pull up and hit the 12-foot shot. That still counts for 2 points.
But you know what? That straight line speed is something you just can't coach. And Kemba Walker has it. He puts that foot to the gas pedal and just tries to beat you, and usually does.
Yeah, Walker the last 3 games averaging 7.6 assists.
Marquette moving well in the half-court offense right here. A lot of movement, bodies and basketball moving around.
Butler. And there's a foul. It's going to go against Bikes from Marquette. Well, you mentioned the movement. I was thinking before you said that they look like the Globetrotters out there in their routine.
They really were, weren't they? Well, dribble handoffs. Marquette will run those ball screens. Again, I go back to the key for Marquette to pull the big guys for UConn away from the basket. Make them defend on the perimeter and then find angles to the basket. Looks like a little zone here for Marquette. Absolutely, 3-2. They'll be able to go inside. Inside! That counts as inside. Oh! Stanley Robinson.
I thought he was going to touch the top of the backboard.
Well, there are a lot of ways to beat a defense, a zone defense, but just throwing them up to the rim and having Stanley Robinson go get it might be the most exciting way to do it.
Wow. That alley-oop pass was thrown from deep in the corner.
Kemba Walker jumping over tables. You know, one play like that, one big dunk gets the crowd into it, gets the team fired up.
Let's take another look at it now. At halftime, we're going to take a look at some of the high risers. Steve Melton may have to re-edit that piece after Stanley Robinson went up on that one.
Don't worry. Robinson's got plenty of highlights in our little halftime feature.
UConn now with 12 points in the paint so far here this afternoon. Johnson Odom taking his man off the dribble. Extra pass. Shot clock violation. Inside 12, so we're going to step away from the XL Center.
Stanley Robinson, 17.7 rebounds on the year, and he does spectacular plays like this all the time for UConn.
Welcome back inside the XL Center. There you see the numbers deadlocked at 13 apiece. Today's Big East Coaches Spotlight is brought to you by Oppenheimer Funds. Let's take a closer look at Coach George Blaney, now the head coach of the UConn Huskies, at least temporarily, while Jim Calhoun steps away. Here you see Jim Calhoun's numbers: 818 wins, 3 Final Fours, 2 national championships. 16 league titles, 7 30-win seasons. I'm not sure what stands out.
You
the
talk
most.
about big shoes to fill. You want to step in and try and replace Jim Calhoun for a couple games? Well, that'll be tough.
And there's your Oppenheimer Funds coach for this afternoon, George Blaney. 30 years as a head coach, 460 wins. And this is the 11th time stepping in for Jim Calhoun. And Coach Blaney said, as I mentioned earlier, he can't wait for Coach Calhoun to come back, because those two love to sit around and talk basketball all day, bouncing ideas off of one another.
Come on, baby. He told me a good story about Coach Blaney and his NBA playing days when he knew it was time to hang him up.
Played for the New York Knicks, and he said he was going for a loose ball, and Wilt Chamberlain picked him up and the ball. And at that juncture, he said, maybe it's time I look into coaching or doing something else.
Time, yeah. Wilt Chamberlain ruining the careers of people everywhere.
Robinson with the turn. Majok missed the bunny, and this one goes out of bounds. It stays with the Huskies. Andre LaFleur, the assistant coach for UConn, saying Majok was so amped up, so excited to get in uniform. He's been through so much. And LaFleur says he has to have patience, the coaches have to have patience, and the fans for UConn have to have patience, because he will be a good player, but he's still learning.
You love the energy, though. You watch him. He had a great game against Texas. Really brought that high energy, got on the floor, got up to the glass. That's all he needs to do.
Well, Majok knocks it out of bounds. Butler probably thought he got hacked a little bit, but it'll be Marquette basketball.
You see Majok right there. Now, he's a player who, talking to Coach Blaney about him, said, he's had a lot of workouts, hasn't played in a lot of games, and so he's still learning, still coming along. A freshman with certainly tons of potential.
There's a needed 3 by Darius Johnson Odom. He's got 9 points already, Mike, but Marquette had been in a little lull.
Well, Marquette, they had started 3 of 4 and then only went 1 for 8 after the start. Good for them to get a little rhythm. Darius Johnson Odom, one of the more underrated players in the Big East.
Stanley Robinson opting for the jumper. Hustles for the rebound, but they say he sometimes negates his own advantage because he's so athletic when he settles for the jump shot.
Yeah, spends too much time away from the basket. He's got all that athleticism. Get inside.
Well, I tell you, you look at the bigs for UConn, and Marquette several times now just kind of threw up a high floater that didn't go down. Little traveling music by the Huskies, and Marquette will have another opportunity.
Here's Robinson working inside. This is what UConn coaches and fans want to see him do more. Get inside, use that athleticism, stay aggressive. Nice pickup off the ground and put back for Robinson.
Huskies now with 5 turnovers in the ball game. Earlier I said averaging just under 16. That was assists, 16 assists. They're only averaging 14 turnovers a game. But they had their share against Providence. Look at it, up and under. Nice athletic move by Jimmy Butler.
What a finish by Jimmy Butler. He has come on so strong this year. One of the reasons they think they can pull the UConn big man away from the basket and beat him off the dribble is because Jimmy Butler is so good at it. He can go right or left. He's a right-handed player, but goes to the baseline there using his left hand.
Dyson probably had the shot, but looking for Robinson down on the baseline. 6 turnovers now.
This ball rotation, Jimmy Butler catches it, 1 dribble on the ground, the reverse layup. He's a very athletic player. He takes off from almost outside the free throw lane and finishes on the other end. And for UConn, another turnover. 6 turnovers, only 7 baskets for UConn.
Butler coming off the 16 points, 8 rebounds against Rutgers. Hayward, a little bit too strong. Rebound goes to Dyson. Well, George Blaney did say that the big 3, Dyson, Robinson, Kemba Walker, they're learning how to apply the breaks in that transition game.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You saw Jerome Dyson do it right there. Didn't have anything in transition, just pulled it out. So go down as another turnover, a little offensive foul.
Goes against Majok. The 6'11" freshman. That's his second.
You know, George Blaney telling us there's a certain amount of turnovers that will happen. We're a transition team. If you want to get out and push the pace, you're going to turn the ball over. But it's turnovers like that where you're in your half court trying to get a good look, and that's really an empty possession, the worst kind of empty possession. You're not making a mistake by commission, it's by omission.
Well, when this game started, did Marquette, most of these players, feel like they could take these Huskies off the dribble?
I think so. I think Marquette wanted to beat them around the perimeter. You see here, Hayward going against Edwards. That's the matchup they like. They think they can beat them off the dribble.
Where UConn played Duke, and Jim Calhoun thought they could take Duke off the dribble, but which they did, and they couldn't score. And right now, Marquette, when they're coming off the dribble, they haven't had much success inside. This guy's got the hot hand. Might have been partially blocked from behind. But Marquette will have another opportunity. Hayward. Bikes comes up with a rebound.
Well, UConn, so many big guys. They've led the nation in blocked shots for 8 straight years, and they lead it again. This would be the 9th year if they keep that title.
8.8 a game, Mike. Mississippi State right behind at 8.4. Little push from behind. I think it'll go against the freshman Oriaki.
Well, I don't know how many offensive rebounds Marquette will get credit for in this possession, but what a great job they've done. Here's a look at the block by Robinson. So many different guys for UConn can step up inside. Great vision by the big men. We'll look at it, 8.8 blocks a game. 4 already today. But Marquette getting after the offensive glass, extending possessions even when they get their shot blocked or they miss. Marquette team crashing the offensive glass, much like Providence did as they racked up 24 in their win.
You know, Mike, that 8.8 is impressive considering what they had in the middle last year with Hashim Thabit.
I agree. You know, you think about Thabit, what a great shot blocker he was, 2-time National Defensive Player of the Year. Okay, that explains how you lead the nation in block shots, but you lose him. You go, wow, they're doing it again.
Yeah, in 8 straight years.
Like to Mecca Okafor.
Very aggressive around the rim. 8.8, Mississippi State 8.4. And remember, Mississippi State has Jarvis Varnado, so it's going to be interesting to see if the Huskies can hold on to that title for the 9th consecutive year.
More zone from Marquette. See Stanley Robinson trying to work the inside. Got to be aggressive call for the basketball. Get in there, turn and look.
Edwards missed the shot, but the bigs getting it done for the Huskies. And finally, Bikes comes up with a rebound. Shot's not going down, but George Blaney has to be happy with the effort he's getting from the bigs in the paint, Mike.
Well, I think they got a good look from Edwards on that possession. He wasn't able to convert, but they crashed and got another look from Robinson.
Butler. Acker hasn't had too many shots. That's going to be a 2. That's his first bucket.
Acker, such a good shooting season he's had. Was 6 of 6 from beyond the arc against Providence. 4 of 5 in their last game against Rutgers at home.
Timeout on the floor. The UConn Huskies now shooting 7 for 17. Acker shooting 78% from long range in conference play, #1 in the league. And we're going to step aside. We'll be back with more after this. Welcome back inside the XL Center. Our score, Marquette on top of UConn, 22-15. We'd like to say hello and thanks to our fans watching in 24 states on our Big East Network Game of the Week, along with our viewers watching nationwide on ESPN Full Court and ESPN360.com. Mike Gleason along with Mike Kelly, who has more steals than anyone in the history at Wisconsin. I always knew you were a thief.
Watch your wallet.
Now you're tweeting with Big East fans about high risers this week.
I tell you what, lots of high risers in this conference. Seen one today, Stanley Robinson doing a great job, but fun to pick some high risers. One of those things that's always neat to look at. Stanley Robinson, Devin Ebanks, Gilbert Brown. I tell you what, Eric Wallace is a guy. Many people watching this game will go, Eric Wallace, don't know a lot about him. DePaul having a tough season, but Wallace, I think, would win a dunk contest if you put all 5 of these players together.
Well, it's interesting you say that after watching some of the highlights during our pregame rehearsal. Now, you want to talk about Big East Network Game of the Week or all things Big East basketball. Follow the Big East Network on Twitter. Send a comment to Mike Kelly at twitter.com/Big East Network. 22-15, 7:05 to go in the first half here from the XL Center.
Right now, the story, I think, for UConn is turnovers. 8 turnovers in this game. Marquette only 1 turnover. Neither team shooting the ball exceptionally well, but Marquette with more chances because they're not turning the ball over.
Well, Dyson thought he had that one. It rattled out. This one last touch by Jimmy Butler, so good hustle by that UConn defense.
I've noticed Marquette trying to get out in transition, even more so than most of their games that I've seen them. I think they feel they can probably beat UConn down the floor and get easy looks.
Robinson.
Nice move. That's a great move. Yeah, that's a great move. Watch Sam Young for Pitt do this so well last few years. Another guy with great athleticism, Stanley Robinson, could pattern his game after guys. Sam Young wouldn't be a bad one to do it.
That following one against Fultz for Marquette, that's his second. You know, Jim Calhoun, when it comes to Stanley Robinson, Jim Calhoun saying he wants it so badly for him. Really likes Robinson. Feels like he's one of the best players across the country. Said he can do so much for his family if he makes the leap into the NBA next year.
Absolutely. Great story. Continue to work hard. His numbers up across the board, especially three-point shooting.
Lazar Hayward just picked up his second foul for Marquette.
It's a big foul. Gavin Edwards was able to slip to the basket on that inbounds play.
Edward gets his first as we check out some other scores. Louisville and West Virginia in Morgantown. Louisville's knocked off West Virginia 4 straight. Temple
continues to play well. Big matchup on Big Monday coming up. UConn team travels to Louisville to play them. Always a raucous atmosphere.
Yeah, the Cardinals will be happy to get back into Freedom Hall after dropping back-to-back road games.
Watch Marquette go side, top side, down to the corner. He's trying to probe with the dribble. I think offensively, this is as good as Marquette has looked in the half court.
But defensively for UConn, as Hayward banks it in, and it's a 3-ball at that. Marquette now 4 for 9 from long range. Robinson settles for the jumper, but hey, when they go like that.
What a difference it has made for Stanley Robinson. You know how athletic he is. He can hit the outside shot this year, shooting 42%, leads the team. This is not a UConn team that lives outside the arc. They get almost everything inside. But you need someone to stretch that defense a bit.
You mentioned his 42%. He shot 13% last year.
Isn't that something? That is surprising. Now, he wasn't with the team the full year. And I don't know that he ever found a rhythm from outside the arc. I think that's part of it. He was 35% before that on his career.
4 on the shot clock. Hayward gets it stripped. Huskies in transition. Walker, little floater, doesn't go, but the whistle and the foul goes against Marquette.
Boy, the pressure Kemba Walker puts on you as a defender. You have to make up your mind so quick because he's right on top of you. He's like a wide receiver. And they talk about the speed to get right on top of you off the line of scrimmage. Kemba Walker in transition just goes right to the defender, makes you make a stance, and then he can go right by you.
Foul went against Darius Johnson Odom. Kemba Walker still looking for his first point. Comes in averaging 13 points, 6.2 assists. David Kubian checking in for Bikes on the Marquette side.
Walker's been very good from the free throw line. This is not a great free throw shooting team, but Walker one of the better ones at 77%.
Kemba Walker 10 assists in that win against Texas. Said he played awful in the first half. Worst first half he's ever had, and then phenomenal in the second half.
Well, I'm not so sure.
Well, obviously this Husky crowd.
I'm not so sure. We watched that, a good look at it, and Walker was chasing from behind. We talked about the pressure he puts on you when the ball is in his hands. When he's defending as well, he's a menace.
Hayward, that's a 3, and it goes. Hayward warming up now. He's got 9 points, all on 3-point shots. And he now has 35 from long range on the year.
Mike, he steps out. He is ready to shoot when he catches the ball. And Stanley Robinson, just with a mental lapse, defensively did not close out hard. One of the keys for me for UConn was disrupt the rhythm shooting, and that was a rhythm shot by a very good three-point shooter. And you take a look at the last two. Here's the last one. A slow closeout by Robinson. And the time before, a bank shot. The bank is open early. Not exactly how Hayward thought it was going to go in, but it dropped nonetheless. You deserve a few good breaks when you're a good three-point shooter.
So the Star Watch update now. Hayward, 3 threes. Stanley Robinson, 7 points. Hayward with 20 double-doubles in his career. Robinson with 15. Two of the big guns in this game. You know, you think of the big three for Marquette last year, James, McNeil, and Matthews. Gone, of course, against Rutgers, the game we called earlier this week. Hayward went over 1,600 points, 800 rebounds. Not a bad career, huh?
Absolutely. You know what? He's done everything the team has needed him to do. When he had other guys, you mentioned McNeil and Matthews and James. Hayward was not a guy who demanded the basketball despite his great talent. He just played within the system this year. He's been asked to do more, and he stepped up.
1,600 points, 800 rebounds. Kind of playing in the shadow of the big three. Edwards. Nice help defense there by Marquette. Outside the kick. Shot didn't go down by Jamal Coombs McDaniel, the 6'7" freshman.
Gavin Edwards, though, he just continues to fight. What a nice job he does on the offensive glass, gets in good position. Long shot, long rebound, and Edwards there to corral it. You really admire a kid, works as hard as he has. Played behind some very good players in previous years. Didn't have an opportunity until this year to step up, and he's made the most of it.
He's 3 for 3 from the stripe here today. He's been in double figures 14 times this year, just 6 times in the previous 3 seasons. And Jerome Dyson said, you know, when something would go wrong, usually he would get yelled at from Jim Calhoun. So he's persevered. And
that's a fun role to play on your team.
He's persevered, and he said he's a better man for it. His dad, Earl, of course, a veteran of 11 NFL seasons, had actually wished his son had transferred.
Look at those numbers. Marquette shooting 26% twos, 50% from 3. That's the story all year. Look at that.
Jimmy Butler playing above the rim now. He's got 8.
Boy, great crash by Jimmy Butler. He's got good vision. He likes to follow the shot. You get good dribble penetration. Jimmy Butler will be there to clean it up if you miss.
30-21, largest lead in the ball game for Marquette. Is it outside jumper?
Seeing UConn, I don't know if settle is the right word, but I think a couple threes their last few possessions.
Well, Buzz Williams kind of looking at Kubion now. Talk about a quick trigger. Marquette wasted no time. But Jimmy Butler taking it to the rack. Butler coming off the 16-point performance. Mike, he's halfway there here this afternoon in the first half. Marquette by 9, and Mike Kelly, take us inside the play.
Well, Jimmy Butler, a very active player for Marquette. And you watch the start of this play as the screen is refused by Darius Johnson-Odom. That was going to be a Jimmy Butler screen. Now he's at the top of the key, and when he sees the shot go up, he just crashes the glass. He comes right down the lane. Here's the miss by Williams, and Jimmy Butler with the great athleticism. That might be the easiest 2 he'll get. You see Stanley Robinson that he blows right by at the top of the key. All that athleticism, though, for Stanley Robinson isn't going to do anything unless you put a body on somebody.
That's the key. Put your body on somebody. Again, Providence with 24 offensive rebounds Wednesday night in their win over UConn. Butler back on the line. 58% shooter from the floor, 78 from the line, with a lot of athleticism, as Mike pointed out.
Jimmy Butler voted the best dancer on this Marquette team. Been waiting to crack that one out. Best dancer, I like it.
Well, we'll see if he'll be doing some dancing after this ball game. Actually, both teams keeping the fingers crossed that they'll be dancing in the big dance at the end of the year.
Oh, another turnover for UConn. They continue to come away with empty possessions, not valuing the basketball. I like the idea, though, going inside after the timeout. I'm sure Coach Blaney telling these guys, don't settle for the outside shots. We're trying to get some high percentage. Just come up with the turnover instead.
9 turnovers for UConn. Inside 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. The Marquette shooting it well from outside, but outside of Johnson Odom, Acker hasn't gotten many looks.
Well, Marquette has not tried to slow this game down by any stretch, but what they have done in their half-court offense is made UConn work. They've made them play defense. They've moved the ball around. Because of that, we've seen Marquette go deep into possessions. They've scored quickly in transition. Otherwise, they're making UConn work.
Good hustle play by Jimmy Butler. Marquette on a 9-1 run. And not to be redundant going back to that Providence game, but the Friars went on an 18-0 run against this UConn team. And you look at some of the athletes on this UConn team, I just can't see somebody putting an 18-0 run on these guys.
No, they've certainly got the talent. You would think that would be tough to do.
Well, coming up on the Big East halftime report, we'll have the Big East Wire as Mike Kelly takes a look at the Big East high risers, Big East news and notes, and we'll check the conference standings as well. All coming up in the next 2 minutes and 45 seconds on the Big East Network halftime report from the XL Center.
Mike Gleason, one of my keys for UConn was score in transition. Right now, only 4 fast break points. This is a Marquette team that has stopped them, slowed them down, not given them anything quick. The first thing you have to do when you play a team as good in fast break as UConn is. So credit Marquette and their defense, especially in transition.
Early on, though, as George told us before the game, George Blaney said, yeah, I guess our bigs are going to have to get more touches. They were getting more touches early on, and then suddenly you see Dyson launch a jumper. Robinson launches a jumper. It seems like they kind of lull themselves to sleep with the outside shot.
And then turnovers. Turnovers have been a real issue, and it certainly takes you out of your offensive rhythm as you're giving the ball away. UConn with 9 turnovers and only 8 made field goals.
Good body hang that time by the young freshman Jamal Coombs McDaniel. The 6'7" freshman from Massachusetts. I thought Kyle Muncy, the media relations director, had a great analysis on Jamal Coombs McDaniel. He said overall he might be in time the best outside shooter they have, but he's kind of plays the 2 on offense, and he's kind of designated to play 3 on a defense and that can pose some problems sometimes.
Well, it's tough to find a spot for someone like that, but obviously Coombs McDaniel has shown you some things. I've liked what he's done early in this game, especially that last drive there, putting the ball on the floor. I don't see a player for UConn that is really adept at getting the ball back to the basket and scoring, really demanding it. They can certainly pound it down low, but I think beating people off the dribble is the real strength of this team, and we saw Coombs McDaniel do it on that possession.
Coombs McDaniel, the National Prep School Player of the Year, gets his first point. 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go before halftime. Johnson Odom pulls it out now with 10 on the shot clock. Four on the shot clock. Bikes a little bit too strong. Edwards with the rebound.
Excellent half-court defense. That was the best half-court possession defensively for UConn of this game. Kemba Walker with the basketball, averaging over 13 a game, hasn't taken a shot. Actually took a shot, got fouled, so it didn't count as a field goal attempt.
There's Walker. And it rattles in. Home away from home. That's the home bounce.
How's that for timing? Talk about him. Needs to put the ball up, and he buries it 3. Nice job, Kemba Walker.
His 17th 3 this year. This Husky crowd trying to get their team back into it. Getting very vocal now. In the last minute and 19. Eric Williams rejected by Edwards. Here come the Huskies.
Well, Gavin Edwards just played the safety on that possession down low, waiting for the ball to come inside.
Remember I said Jim Calhoun said Walker can smell that rim? You could see it on that drive.
He's so quick. He gets right up on it. And now finally this crowd coming to life.
6-0 run for UConn right now. The final 45 seconds. Acker dips inside. It won't go down. Edwards with another rebound.
What a finish for the half this could be for UConn. They get a stop here. If they can score another bucket, get it even closer going into the break, they'd feel much better about the way this first half went. They did not play great basketball, but a chance to cut it even closer.
.13 on the shot clock, but a second differential from the game clock and shot clock. Walker with 5, puts his shoulder down. Edwards is fouled by Johnson Odom. Good box out by Edwards.
You see UConn just went 1-4. Kemba Walker's so quick. He can go right or left as a point guard. Uses that speed to get by Acker. And Gavin Edwards, once again, how often have we said it? Just being in the right spot at the right time. Crashes the glass. Gets the offensive rebound. Chance to score from the free throw line.
Edwards perfect 3 for 3 from the stripe now with 4 seconds to go.
Williams going to bring in Lasar Hayward and Jimmy Butler for this last offensive possession. He was drawing up a play on the sideline with both players before they checked in.
So Gavin Edwards, an 80% shooter from the line. His 30 minutes off the bench. That's the most in the country for players coming off the bench.
He's essentially a starter, really. Over 30 minutes a game.
Perfect in the first half. 5 for 5 from the line. 8-0 run now for the Huskies. If they can get a stop here, they cut it to 5. Johnson Odom. A little bit too strong, and an 8-0 run to close out the first half of the Huskies. It's 34-29. UConn down by 5.
It feels like the story should be UConn, the way they finished the first half, but really Marquette up 5 on the road, put together a very solid 20 minutes of play.
Yeah, Marquette, no doubt. It looked like they were ready to grab all of the momentum in the first half. The Big East Network halftime report is coming up right after this. Welcome back to the PNC Big East Network Game of the Week. Back inside the XL Center, where UConn is calling this home for the 287th time, and they trail Marquette 34-29. Well, with Mike Kelly, the Final Four captain for that Wisconsin team back in 2000. I'm Mike Gleason. UConn trailed by as many as 13 in the first half. They close with an 8-0 run, so they grab Big Mo back on their side. What do they have to do in the second half now?
They've got to take care of the basketball. They had 9 turnovers in that first half. That's too many. They've got to box out Marquette with 9 offensive rebounds. That's too many. And then the other thing, Jerome Dyson, only 4 points in that first half. I look for him to be more involved in the second half.
All right, Mike, let's take a look at the first half stats brought to you by Geico.
Here you see the 9 turnovers, 6 blocks though by UConn, doing a nice job as Marquette attacks the basket, but quite often what we saw was a block shot. Marquette corralled it back and then went up with it.
Marquette with 9 offensive rebounds, but turnovers again. 9 for the UConn Huskies. They average about 14. Marquette with 5 threes in the first half. They average about 9.5 in conference play a game, so they're right on pace there.
We saw excellent half-court offense execution by Marquette in the first half. We'll see if they can continue. See them work the ball side, top side. Get it inside, kick out for threes.
Kubian. That's a 3.
You know, this Marquette team, I think a lot of people don't know what to make of it. They've lost so many heartbreakers. They've played great all season long. Sans for perhaps a fluky loss at DePaul where things just didn't break right for them down the stretch. This is a Marquette team, though, that hasn't really laid an egg all season, has played strong, has squared away with some of the toughest teams in the country. 2 close losses to Villanova, a buzzer beater at West Virginia. And you watch them play, and you know, some people, because of the record, might be surprised the way they've come out so strong. But if you follow them, you know this is how good a team they are.
Very unselfish team, too, as far as who gets the shots and who's going to score. Oh, a scoop. Wow, that was impressive.
Well, UConn with 2 buckets in their first 2 possessions. Marquette was much better in the first half, defending in transition. We'll see if UConn can continue to assert themselves offensively.
We mentioned UConn, 2 buckets in their first 2 possessions, both impressive drives by Dyson. Hayward Boy, he steps outside. You just think of him as a post player, you know. But
he catches, he's ready to shoot. You saw Majuk trying to guard him. It was a ball screen, just a drive and kick instead of a pick and roll. Reset that screen. He just faded away.
Dyson, 3 for 3. They're going to wave this off, though.
Now, who else? Hayward steps right in. Great vision defensively to slide over. Dyson trying to get more involved. That's a good call. Hayward was there. Plenty of time. Feet planted.
Brian O'Connell with the call. O'Connell, Tim Clockerty, and Wally Rutecki wearing the striped shirts and the whistles here in Hartford. Marquette by 7, 40-33. Acker hasn't seen too many looks. Hayward has.
The same play on the other side of the floor. Ball screen, Acker kicks.
Good hustle. Johnson Odom with the steal. Johnson Odom with the 3.
Boy, Marquette continues to play well. Sharing the basketball. It's one aspect of this team. One of the best in the country at assist-to-turnover ratio.
Johnson Odom
share the ball well. You see him here on transition. Maurice Acker with the good vision, finding Johnson Odom, and he buries the deep one.
Back inside the XL Center, 43-33. Marquette back in front by 10 points. In the second half now, Marquette, as we mentioned, it really doesn't matter who scores on this team, huh?
Just continue to share the basketball so well. Great vision from beyond the arc right now. Marquette 8 of 17. You see Lazar Hayward after the screen and pop for 3, and Hayward can make you pay. Marquette playing great offensively.
So Jimmy Butler in double figures again, as is Hayward and Darius Odom, Johnson Odom. Dyson with 8 points. He's got a couple of quick buckets here in the second half, but you look at Marquette. Johnson 3 for 6 from long range. Hayward 4 for 6. And Kubian 1 for 1. Kubian was 6 for 6 against Georgetown. The next game he only took 1. So again, I go back to that, like you said, sharing the rock. Very unselfish club.
Buzz Williams very fired up in that timeout. I think calling for his team to step up defensively, and they get a stop here out of the break.
I was laughing as you took us to break there, Mike. Darius Johnson Odom knocked down a 3. And as he walked off the floor, he was getting yelled at by Buzz Williams.
I think it had to do with the defensive end, as they had given up a couple buckets early to Dyson.
Jimmy Butler with the going right this time, and Edwards picks it up.
You notice Marquette had basically cleared out. It was a 5-out, nobody inside, trying to create a lane for Butler to drive to the basket. Now UConn's got to find something going in this half-court offense. Find a way to get an easy look.
Stanley Robinson, he's fouled, and Stanley will be going to the line. Jimmy Butler's going to pick up number 3, Mike. Or Hayward. I'm sorry, Hayward. Just as
it's 3 for Hayward.
Just as serious there. Hayward picks up 3.
So him just sneak his hand, and they need Hayward on the floor. He can anchor them defensively, and then on the offensive end, as we've seen, his ability to step out, set that screen, and then stretch the defense.
Robinson picks up his 8th point. He's 3 for 8 shooting the rock here this afternoon.
Kemba Walker, just a menace defensively, picks you up full court, a one-man press.
Talk about this unselfish play with Marquette. Before the season started, Buzz Williams was saying that the scouting report on Hayward's going to be, don't let him touch the ball. If he does, make him get rid of it. Has that changed a little because of these other guys have stepped up?
It has. You cannot give that much attention to one player on this Marquette team. They've got too many weapons that can beat you. To focus on Hayward would be giving up too much to the other guys.
Dyson, he's fouled. He'll be going to the line.
It's surprising a guy like Jerome Dyson went quiet for so long in that first half. Only scored 4 points, and you watch him come out, hits the first 2 buckets, shows you on that drive that he can put that pressure on you, get to the rim, get fouled. Dyson's a guy I think you want to have the ball in his hand. Now Walker runs the point, but when you see Dyson work with it, so many good things happen for UConn.
Mike, we talked about Hayward picking up number 3. Well, this time Butler did get charged with the foul, so he has 3. Hayward has 3. And Dyson with the free throw now has 9.
That's the other reason for these guards of UConn to put pressure on Marquette inside. They've got them in foul trouble. Hayward with 3, Butler with 3. Marquette is not a deep team in the front court. They don't have many guys they can go to inside. They rely on Hayward and Butler quite a bit. I think the game plan right now almost switches a bit. And you say, okay, Kemba, Jerome, Stanley, get it on the floor, get inside, try and draw a foul.
Walker and Dyson kind of interchangeable. George Blaney saying Jim Calhoun actually one of the first coaches to play with 2 point guards. Even though you'd think of Dyson as a shooting guard.
A lot of coaches just talk about basketball players. Point guards is kind of a newer thing. And we've got guys on the floor who can handle the ball, make good decisions.
Dyson in this game, Mike, past Emeka Okafor as he climbs the scoring list.
See, Majuk is being guarded by Hayward. Majuk not a guy that's going to go back to the basket and really draw that foul.
There's a whistle on the floor, on the ball. And inside 60 minutes, we're going to take a step away here from the XL Center. Marquette 43, UConn 37. Back with more after this.
More exciting Big East Hoops action comes your way Saturday, February 6th, as Lazar Hayward and the Marquette Golden Eagles take on Keno Davis's Friars of Providence. Then on Sunday, we have a bonus game as Dominique Jones and the Bulls of South Florida head to South Bend to take on Luke Herringody and the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. It's the Big East game of the week as Marquette takes on Providence Saturday. Then South Florida heads to Notre Dame on Sunday, February 7th, only on the Big East Network.
Back in Hartford. 43-37. All season long champion apparel will be showcasing the tradition and history of the Big East Conference. And this afternoon, let's take a look back at the 2 national championships for the UConn Huskies. Jim Calhoun been in the Final Four 3 times. Came home with national title twice.
I was at this game. I was a sophomore in college at the time. I thought there was no way UConn could beat Duke. All the talent that Duke had, and just watched as Jim Calhoun and his UConn Huskies took them apart. And they really handily won that game. A great effort, a great team effort to win the championship. And here's the second one. Okafor and Ben Gordon.
2004, as Jim Calhoun raises the national championship trophy high above his head once again. And you look at the numbers in '99, the year before you went to the Final Four, 34-2.
What a great team they had. Rip Hamilton, Khalid El-Amin.
Out of 7 30-win seasons. There's another one right there, 33-6. 6 future NBA first round, not draft picks, first round selections.
I put that team as one of my top 5 teams of the decade in the Big East. That Okafor team right there, and Ben Gordon.
Now, Jim Calhoun said that if he had won last year in Detroit, he would have retired. A lot of people don't believe him. Kyle Muncy, the media relations director, says absolutely. I think if he won another national championship again, he might have stepped down.
So I'm believing everything Jim Calhoun says when it comes to basketball.
Kemba Walker stops. There's that short jumper you're talking about.
When you see Maurice Acker, though, kind of pull up, not wanting to get another foul. Marquette, I think the story to finish this game might end up being Marquette's foul trouble, as both big men have 3 fouls. We saw Acker pick one up before the break and then try to avoid one there, and it leads to an easy bucket for UConn.
You know, Mike, if Kemba Walker masters that little pull-up, he might not be here for 4 years.
Well, so tough. That mid-range game is tough to master.
Hayward, nice touch. The 6'6" senior now with 14 points in the game.
That's a big-time shot over Gavin Edwards. Edwards, a pretty good defender, doing everything he can to stay in front. Nice job making Hayward shoot over the top, but even then you can't stop him.
Robinson trying to sneak in through the back door. Robinson. Majuk. Wow. Johnson on him. He has clobbered, and he'll be going to the line. So Majuk gets the stick back jam, and then he picks up the foul.
Well, this is a possession before for Marquette as Hayward was able to shoot over the top. You watch him. This is a deep post up. Just turns and faces one dribble against Edwards. Uses his length to get it over the top of a taller Gavin Edwards. We go back to Ater Majuk. His ability to get on the glass, stay very active. It's all they really need from him. You like to see him with those putbacks.
There's Johnson. Odom missed the first, and he missed both. And Majuk pulls down the rebound. You see what Andre LaFleur, the assistant coach, was talking about, that Majuk will be a good player. There's the transition on the other side. Marquette comes back.
Well, Marquette continues to look for ways to beat UConn down the floor, whether it be off a turnover or a missed shot, taking advantage of the easy twos when they can get them.
And Fultz is going to pick up his third.
Another foul by Marquette. Here's the last play as Dyson tried to just go over the top with the dribble. Gave it up, and Acker, you mentioned how small he is, still able to finish in among the trees. But another foul by Marquette, continuing to rack up now in the second half.
So Fultz has 3, Hayward has 3, Butler has 3, and we have 13:30 to go in the ball game. Majuk gets about 14 minutes a game. Seems like his playing time's increased here this afternoon, and he's been aggressive.
Yeah, he has. That's what you like to see at a young player, very active. That's 4 fouls, though, on Joe Fultz. You'll send Majuk to the line. It's going to be the 15th foul on Marquette, just over 6 minutes into this first half.
And this is where you talk about Buzz Williams having Chris Otule and Yusufa Mbao out with injuries. A 6'11" guy and a 7'2" guy.
Absolutely. You go back to Jerron Mayman as well. Mayman, a guy who was on this team early, left. A very thin bench, especially in the post.
Robinson with the rebound. He's in double figures. Majuk with 7.7 rebounds.
Now you wonder if the fouls start to take away some aggressiveness from Marquette, as they've been hit up several times now early in the second half.
27 straight games. Robinson in double figures now for the Huskies. Marquette led by as many as 13 in the first half. 5 on the shot clock. Jimmy Butler, baseline, 3. Partially deflected. Missed opportunity for Marquette. Huskies with a chance to draw within 1. There's that straight line. Running back trying to get into the end zone with Dyson, huh?
He takes one dribble. He can go about 20 feet. I mean, the 16th foul on Marquette as Dyson puts pressure on you. Watch him get the ball here. Ball fake. Johnson Odom just puts his hands on Dyson. That's a foul every time.
Johnson Odom picked up his third. So one of the consistent scorers now. And a very, very shallow bench for Buzz Williams over there on the Marquette side with a couple of injuries to the bigs. Robinson turns. Back-to-back buckets now for Stanley Robinson.
A big shot by Robinson. It's one of the matchups we probably should have talked about more. Darius Johnson-Odom has done a very good job guarding Stanley Robinson, giving up several inches and some athleticism. And Robinson hasn't gone off until that shot.
Mikes throws it out of bounds. Johnson Odom trying to sneak in the back door, and the pass had a little bit too much zest.
Here's Stanley Robinson coming off that inbounds play as Darius Johnson Odom trying to defend. And when Robinson catches and elevates, tough for anybody to get a hand up and bother that shot. Johnson Odom just a few seconds late. Robinson makes some pay, and then the turnover, as you said, Marquette playing a little too quick on the offensive end, something they haven't done.
Well, Dyson had the clear lane.
Wow, they had it. Well set up play. They like to run this for the backdoor cut. Walker had Dyson all the way. They can't believe they gave it up.
Inside the XL Center as Marquette takes on number 19 UConn along with Mike Kelly. I'm Mike Gleason. Great to have you with us here on the Big East Network Game of the Week. Marquette trying to climb to 4-5 in the Big East. UConn trying to climb to 500 at 4-4. Kubian high off the window.
What a finish. Kubian using his off hand to shield Majuk so he couldn't get to the basketball. That's a great finish by a smaller player.
Now we'll see how many touches Robinson gets. Against Georgetown, he got 18, Mike, but only 6 in the second half. And Jim Calhoun said we just didn't get him the ball. Majuk with the left hand.
That's not his forte. It's not a bad shot, not a bad look, but certainly not their first option in their half-court offense.
Butler, he draws the foul on the shot. And Jimmy Butler, a 78% shooter from the line, will be at the line when we come back. David Kubian
coming right through your TV screen, down to the basket. Look at the offhand shield the defender. Kubian with the finish.
Marquette 49-46 over UConn. Marquette, of course, leading the country in three-point shooting. 8 for 19 today. They average about 9.5, and UConn trying to get to 3-1 since Jim Calhoun took that leave of absence.
Marquette shooting hot, 8 of 19 from beyond the arc, as you mentioned. Marquette 17 points off turnovers, 13. There you see it, 13 turnovers by UConn, turned into 17 Marquette points. And on the flip side, Marquette with only 3 turnovers. And has not allowed Connecticut to score off it.
Buzz Williams has been to the NCAAs as an assistant coach with Colorado State, Texas A&M, and Marquette. Last year led Marquette as the head coach. 25 wins. Into the second round of the NCAAs. The big question, will they make it to the dance this year? Will UConn make it to the dance this year?
Mike, I thought the last 2 possessions from Marquette were crucial as this crowd started to get into it. UConn was on a roll. We saw Kubian go hard to the basket and finish strong. And then on this possession, as Butler converts 1 of 2 free throws, he got the ball inside, went right to the heart of the defense and drew the foul. And now Marquette comes out of that timeout in a little 3-2 zone defense.
7 of 10 from the stripe now. And Butler, that's his first point here in the second half. Very aggressive in the first half. We're about halfway through. Kemba Walker. There's that pull-up again, Mike.
That's a great job by Walker. I was about to say, UConn has not had that inside presence on the interior of the zone that you can go to for a turn face and defeat the zone. Instead, though, they get Walker to drive inside, essentially play that role with the dribble.
Kemba Walker on to Acker. Butler. There's his first field goal of the second half.
Boy, it was a nice step out by Oriaki to bother Kubian, who they were trying to feed off of a double screen, but he just couldn't recover in time to stop the 2.
Edwards down on the baseline trying to back his man in with that drop step. He's charged with traveling. As we take a look at the first half, well, it was mostly Marquette, Mike.
Yeah, great half-court offense. We saw Marquette, as they always do, share the ball so well, shoot the 3 so well, leading the nation in three-point shooting percentage. And then in the second half, we've seen UConn come out strong. Jerome Dyson with the first couple buckets. Stanley Robinson bearing it on the inbounds play as well.
Hayward takes it on the baseline, makes it from the baseline.
Boy, that is a tough shot. That is a tough shot to defend if you're a bigger player trying to guard Lazar Hayward, to try to get into him enough to bother the shot, but then protect against the drive.
Kemba Walker comes back with the J.
Coming alive. And take this game over. Thought it might be Dyson that would play that role. Walker showing he can do it.
A little bit too strong for Hayward. Dyson rips down the rebound. Last year, 93-82, UConn beat Marquette, putting some points on the board. Now they're going back and forth as Kemba Walker is charged with the foul for UConn.
Walker had to kind of sell this one as he tried to split that screen. Boy, his great quickness. Going to get it on Acker.
Right, check that. I think I said Kemba Walker charged. Walker going to the line, of course. 11 points. Make it 12 for the sophomore. Now you look at Kemba Walker, how good he is. In junior high, he played behind Corey Fisher. High school at Rice High School behind Edgar Sosa. And then here last year behind A.J. Price. So he's learned behind some pretty good players. Huh?
He's got to learn to be patient, I guess.
Matter of fact, Corey Fisher, back in junior high, Kemba Walker was actually cut from the junior high team. And Corey Fisher told the coach, hey, if you don't want him, I'm not going to play for you either.
Wow.
That's a friend.
Who was evaluating talent if you cut Kemba Walker? Well, how good was that team?
Acker. Kubian.
Look at this matchup. Stanley Robinson trying to defend the much smaller but quicker Kubian.
Acker. Boy, you know what, Mike? Acker comes in shooting 78% from three. It's almost like Kemba Walker's. You can see in his eyes, he's almost challenging him.
I think on that shot, it was the closeout ability that I think got in Acker's head as he kind of rushed that shot.
Johnson Odom finds the open man. Now this UConn crowd is coming to life here with 8:20 to go.
UConn's done a nice job on the glass, keeping Marquette off the offensive rebound.
Last time this game was tied, it was 13-13. Huskies with a chance for the tie right here. They got it. It's Kemba Walker with another jump shot.
What a shot. You know, you talk about Kemba Walker and his ability to put his foot on the gas, but that time, the ability to put it on the break, not go all the way to the rim, but stop for the mid-range shot is what made that a perfect play for Kemba Walker.
Well, Mike, we were 1 second away from a television timeout, but Marquette takes the timeout now.
There's the speed. There's the blow-by. And then you got to stop on a dime, pull up for that shot. Use your speed to your advantage, both when you want to pick it up right here, and then when you want to slow down. A nice pull-up. Kemba Walker showing you some great offensive ability, and now UConn tied with Marquette.
With 8 minutes and 1 second to go, other scores, Georgetown. The last time Duke went into D.C., they were the #1 team in the country. Georgetown pulled out the win. 58-51 Louisville trying to snap a 2-game road skid in the Big East. And Temple on top of LaSalle now in the second half, 61-45. Temple, the Owls are #15 in the country.
I hear Obama was going to be at that Georgetown game, huh?
Rumor has it
going to be high.
Kemba Walker, the 6'1 sophomore from the Bronx.
10 points in the second half for Kemba Walker after 5 in the first half.
UConn grabbing Big Mo. Can Marquette get him back? Johnson Odom spin, puts it up with the right hand. Almost gets his rebound.
That's a tough shot. Not a lot of ball movement on that possession from Marquette. Look at the pass.
Oriaki with the step back. First lead for the Huskies since 8-7. That was way back at the 17:07 mark of the first half. 8-0 run now for the Huskies.
And it comes out in transition. They get a defensive stop, turns into points.
Kubian. That'll silence the crowd. A big-time 3 for Kubian.
It's a nice shot by Kubian, and it comes while Stanley Robinson is trying to defend him. And that's a tough matchup for Robinson. Kubian very quick. Exploited that quickness off the ball screen.
Dyson with that straight line drive. Hayward, the money man, averaging 18. Rattles out. Dyson with a rebound. Here come the Huskies. Behind the back. There's that pull-up jumper. And there's Gavin Edwards.
How about it? Jerome Dyson, though, around the back. He had the 2-point shot on the previous possession. Out in transition. And this Huskies team is so tough to beat.
And he applied the brakes in transition that time, as we talked about in the first half. Butler comes right back with his 17th point.
Well, this game has kind of opened up the last few minutes, and that plays into UConn's hands. They want to get up and down. They showed you they can beat Texas, almost beat Kentucky the same way.
Hayward transition. It's a little bit too strong. Edwards tries to knock it off of one of the Marquette players. It goes out of bounds. It'll stay with the Golden Eagles. We're down to 5:35 to go in the ball game, and there's the numbers, 60-59. The Huskies holding on to a 1-point lead. UConn and Marquette, the series tied at 2-2. Let's go back to 2006. Marquette, their very first game in the Big East. UConn goes there, ranked very, very high, and Marquette, well, UConn thought they were going to say welcome to the Big East. Instead, Marquette.
I was at this game, actually. It was an unbelievable atmosphere. Marquette played great. Steve Novak had 41 points, 19 rebounds. UConn ranked number 2 at the time. Look at this deep three. And this was the year that Dominique James and Wesley Matthews, Jarrell McGee were all freshmen. Came in. Welcome to the Big East with a huge victory at home.
Huge win. Steve Melton, who's producing this game this afternoon, produced that game as Marquette joined the Big East Conference with a kind of a shocker, I guess you could say, since UConn was ranked so high. But Novak was on fire. And you look at the numbers so far. Connecticut in the second half, 63%. And seems like Big Mo likes those teams that shoot the ball well.
Don't you think Jerome Dyson and Kemba Walker, though, a big part of that? Both players stepping up in the second half. Dyson early. He's got 8 points in the second half. Walker with 10 points in the second half. Asserting themselves, getting high percentage looks for themselves and teammates.
And what's big, too, is you say stepping out and stepping on the brakes, too, as far as pulling up and hitting those little jump shots.
Controlling that speed, harnessing it, using it to your advantage.
Beverly now on Acker. Hayward. Nice drive by Hayward, takes it to the rack. He's got 18. That's what he's averaging this year.
And a well-designed play. They wanted to get Lazar Hayward out on the perimeter with a chance to put the ball on the floor. It's exactly what they got.
Beverly, the 6'4" junior out of California, averages just under 10 minutes a game.
Maurice Acker's just face guarding Jerome Dyson. Dyson can't even get the ball.
Beverly comes off the bench and takes the little runner.
Well, not a great possession. A lot of dribbling. Ball did not get passed around.
61-60, 4 ties, 7 lead changes in the ball game. Marquette hopes to get that 8th lead change right now. Hayward. Whoa! Nothing but the bottom. That's a 2 for Hayward, though.
Boy, the drive-in kick. Marquette has been so good at it all year long. They work on that left side of the floor. Get the ball in the post, kick it back out. Bike shows you the ability to put it on the deck and then to kick it out to Hayward.
Feeding the post. Oriaki traveling, left his feet, came down, had nowhere to go with the basketball.
It's going to stay UConn possession. Boy, Hayward, though, what a great player he is. Marquette finds him in a half-court set. This time, a chance to blow by Gavin Edwards, trying to recover after Hayward had set a screen. And here's just the drive and kick, a simple play. It's a tough matchup, though, for Gavin Edwards to try and defend Hayward.
The last bucket by Hayward. He's 13 points shy now of tying Dean the Dream Memminger. Number 11 all-time on the scoring sheet. And you go back and talk about the big three. I know we talked about this in our last broadcast in the Rutgers-Marquette game, but he's averaging 18. Even if he averages just 12 points a game, he could easily crack the top 5 in scoring. The UConn fans getting a little restless right now as the officials are conferring. First with Buzz Williams.
I don't know if they're trying to check the possession, if it was switched or not. Hayward with 20 points, and we've shown him beat Edwards on the defensive end. To be fair, Gavin Edwards with 7 points, 12 rebounds. He's had a nice all-around game.
Here we go, ready to play. 4:13 left on the clock. Dyson takes it in, backs his man down, spins, turns, and fires.
What a tough shot by Jerome Dyson. Kubion on an island all by himself. 1-4. Jerome Dyson able to break you down.
Dyson now with 10 in the second half. Acker. Little runner won't go. Another rebound for Edwards.
It's a big stop. We'll see if UConn gives it back to Jerome Dyson. I think it's a good idea.
13 boards now for Gavin Edwards.
Yeah, let him go to work. See all the Marquette help defenders ready and waiting.
Dyson stops, rejected by Hayward, but no, there's the whistle and the foul.
It's going to be 4 if it's on Hayward.
Hayward said, I got all ball. That's going to be 4. Look at Buzz says he got all ball. He had his hands up. Well, in his mind, Hayward He was convinced he got all ball. They're going to step away. We'll come back for the final 3:22 right after this. Today's Big East Network game has been brought to you by PNC, leading the way. Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable. Oppenheimer Funds, the right way to invest. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. Insurance. Hartford, there's the numbers now with 3:22 to go. 63-62, Marquette holding on to a 1-point lead. And Lazar Hayward, the senior, it seems like in the second half now he's trying to put the team on his back. Mike.
Marquette has continued to look to him in the half-court offense, and they like the matchup. They think Hayward's got the ability to hit from the outside, and because of that, UConn's big defenders have to step out, guard him there, and he can put it on the floor and blow by them to get even higher percentage shots. Right now, Hayward with 20 points, 3 rebounds, 4 of 7 from beyond the arc.
4 fouls for Hayward. Stanley Robinson, you see the numbers there, 7 rebounds. Jim Calhoun said Robinson should wake up with 10 rebounds. As we look at the foul trouble now, Post with 4, Hayward with 4. Butler and Johnson Odom each with 3, and we have 3:22 to go.
It was about 5 minutes into the second half that we thought foul trouble would be an issue for Marquette, and it's turned out that way, down with over 3 minutes to play.
UConn in the bonus. Marquette's not in the bonus yet. UConn 14-20 from the stripe to welcome in the ESPN2 crowd as Marquette takes on UConn here from the XL Center, the 287th time they've called this home for Dyson and company. Marquette started hot. UConn made a run to close out the first half, and right now it's been going back and forth as we're tied again.
We go back to that foul trouble issue I was just speaking to. It was Marquette that picked up about 3 fouls in 2 possessions quickly in that second half, and that's what can happen. It's early in the second half, but it comes back to bite you towards the end of the game.
5 ties, 7 lead changes. Jimmy Butler, there's the whistle away from the ball.
Yep, Edwards put his hand. The crowd doesn't like it, but it's a good call. And you see the close losses this Marquette team, perhaps.
They're 1-7 in games decided by 5. They've lost 5 Big East games by a total of 11. You take away the 76-71 Syracuse game, they lost 4 games by a total of 6 points. That is amazing. Bikes is rejected. Boy, Gavin Edwards saw him coming down the lane. Dyson's down.
I didn't see what happened with Dyson. You see him, he goes out of the picture. Nice block by Edwards, but right now Jerome Dyson is down. He has not changed position.
That's the 11th block, Mike, for UConn here this afternoon. 2 by Edwards. As we pointed out earlier in the broadcast, they lead the country with 8.8 blocks a game. Dyson's down. Dyson has 15 points.
It looked like Robinson just kind of took him to the ground as Robinson was trying to fight through a screen. You can see it on the right side. Oh, here you go. And you see him step on his ankle. Stepped on his ankle. I think he twisted his ankle or his knee. Scary sight for UConn fans. They remember what last year's team might have been had Dyson not went down.
Obviously an ankle or a knee. But what I was saying is as he turned, it looked like he got a little push in the throat there by Hayward. So Dyson with 11 of those 15 points coming in the second half.
It's a huge blow, not just for this game, but potentially we'll see how serious it could be. But right now, Jerome Dyson, he had been their best half-court offense last few possessions. We just kind of gave him the ball and said make a play, and he was successful to find another way to score if you're UConn now with Dyson on the bench.
That's like Dyson and Hayward have been having a game of horse here the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Here's the matchup. The 2 Star Watch players going against each other.
Robinson with another rebound. That's 8 for him. Majuk and Acker in a foot race.
What a terrible pass, though. There are bad passes and terrible passes. I don't know what Stanley Robinson was thinking here. Even that, if that pass connects and Majuk gets it, That's not a position you want him to be in. Just a mental lapse by Robinson cost him a possession.
Maybe didn't see Acker, who goes 5'7".
That's possible.
Michoud goes 6'11".
Even if there's nobody there, I don't know that you want to outlet that pass.
15 turnovers now for UConn. Acker at 5'7". No, not this time, he said. Hayward. Doesn't go down. Beverly pulls down the rebound.
Well, UConn needs to get a good look out of this possession. Crash the glass after the shot goes up. They've got the size advantage.
Dyson's back up in front of the scorer's table. He's ready to come back in with 1:55 to go. Kemba Walker rattles out. Edwards with a big offensive rebound. He's pulled down to the floor, so he'll be going to the line. He's an 80% shooter from the line. If that goes on Hayward, he's going to foul out with 20 points. And by the sounds of this crowd that's going on Lazar Hayward, that's going to be it for him.
Wow, is that a big-time foul? Hayward has been so huge for Marquette. You give credit to Gavin Edwards, though, keeping the heat on. I mentioned getting after the offensive glass would be important on this possession with the size advantage. That's exactly what Edwards does. Wow, I didn't see much there at all.
4 fouls, that's a tough call.
See if there's a better look at it. Edwards is at the free throw line there. He's just going to crash.
Can't see it there, but I mean, he dropped that foot and tried to box out Edwards, but I didn't see a foul there, Mike. 20 points, either. 3 rebounds, 8 for 19 shooting the ball. And that is tough, as Mike pointed out, with 1:51 to go.
It's a triple whammy. You see Hayward goes to the bench, Edwards to the line, and Jerome Dyson back in the game.
Edwards, an 80% shooter. He has 8, 14 rebounds. Well, it's going to be tough for Hayward to watch from the sidelines now. The final 1:51.
He played his heart out. What a great game he did.
Edwards misfires the whistle, and I think one of the Marquette players jumped in the lane, so Edwards will have another chance.
Now, this is where you miss your leader, Lazar Hayward, the guy you could go to. Things starting to unravel, just under 2 minutes to play.
A second opportunity. Edwards makes the most of it. He's got 9. We're inside the XL Center as UConn takes on Marquette. Along with Mike Kelly, I'm Mike Gleason. Great to have you with us on the Big East Network Game of the Week.
Look at the small lineup Marquette's got on the floor. 4 guards. And Jimmy Butler, the biggest player.
Acker, Kubian. Acker takes it in. Butler is stripped. No, he's fouled. Beverly. So you talk about Edwards being on the line shooting 80%, Mike. Butler shoots 78%. So
it was a nice offensive possession by Marquette. They've got the smaller players on the floor. Bunch of water bugs out there, all sharing the basketball so well. Get it to Butler. Nice job attacking the basket, getting to the free throw line.
18 points, now 8 of 11 from the stripe for Jimmy Butler. The 6'6" junior out of Tyler Junior College knocks them both down. 19 points.
Marquette will stay with their small lineup now. What does that mean? You've got a pressure on the perimeter. Not let the ball get in the post, and then a team rebounding effort if you're Marquette. And for UConn, crash the offensive glass. Use that size to your advantage.
Tied at 65. Kemba Walker rejected by Butler. UConn comes up with the basketball.
No reset on the shot clock.
4 on the shot clock. Dyson rings it up with a huge 3.
How about it, Mr. Dyson?
Dyson had 32 against Texas. But I'm telling you, Mike Kelly, that 3 right there was monumental.
What a heads-up play. No reset on the shot clock. Dyson saw it the entire way. Didn't try to put the ball on the floor and didn't get so close to the defender that he could bother a three-point shot. He took that from deep, but it allowed for a clean look You saw Walker go inside, get his shot blocked, and here's the reset. You got Acker trying to get a hand up, and Dyson able to bury it. What a big three.
So Dyson now, Mike, shooting 70% on the day, 7 of 10. He's got 18 points.
Boy, it was just a few minutes ago. We weren't sure if we'd see Dyson again in this game. He steps back in and hits perhaps the biggest shot for UConn.
Yeah, he was grimacing in pain. Inside a minute now, 54.8. Mentioned the series all deadlocked at 2-2. Huskies have won the last 2. UConn still with 3 timeouts with less than a minute to go.
Now for Marquette. 55 seconds to play. You do not need a 3. You'd like to get a look early if you can. You want to extend this game. Marquette's ability with that small lineup to put the ball on the floor, kick for a 3 is great if you can get it. Otherwise, try and finish right at the rim.
Lazar Hayward, 9 points in the first half, 20 for the ball game, but he's on the sidelines after fouling out. Marquette has 9 threes. They're 9 for 24. And again, Hayward gone. Fultz has 4. Butler and Johnson Odom 3 each. Butler with 19 points. Johnson Odom with 12, but 9 of those 12 came in the first half.
Jimmy Butler bringing the ball to the floor. Let's see what Buzz Williams has in store.
Johnson Odom. That's going to be a foul, and it's going to be a 3.
What a great play by Johnson Odom.
With 21 seconds or 22 seconds were left on the 35-second clock.
He wasn't even square to the basket, but a strong pump fake got the defender in the air. He's going to go to the free throw line. Johnson Odom, I think the best one-on-one playmaker on this Marquette team, and certainly you see it there.
There is Johnson Odom. Knocks down his 13th point. Marquette down 2. Johnson Odom's gone from all states to first-team junior college All-American. Now shooting 3 at the line, which will give this game a potential tie for the 9th time. Bangs down all 3, and we're deadlocked again at 68 with 41 seconds to go.
Big free throws by Johnson Odom. Now a possession for UConn. We'll see if they go back to Jerome Dyson.
I think Jim Calhoun has switched the channel yet.
Boy, I say, he wants to relieve some stress. This isn't a game to do it.
Walker off the dribble. Takes it in a little bit shy, and Butler rips down the rebound. 17 seconds to go.
Well, get 2 timeouts left. Looks like they'll decide to play. No, there you go. Timeout. Chance to win this game and sneak one away on the road. This Marquette team that has struggled to close out close games. Chance to get a big one here in Hartford.
So many times the coach is tempted, huh? Just to let them play it out instead of calling the timeout.
I like the timeout, though. You've got 2 left. Get the play you want. They ran a great play last time for Johnson Odom. The recap of the game. The first half, Marquette played great. Had a 5-point lead going into the break, and it was sharing the basketball well, hitting the outside shots. Lazar Hayward had a big game overall. He's on the bench now with foul trouble. You watch the second half. Jerome Dyson started to score a little bit more. Hit the first 2 buckets of the second half. Stanley Robinson from the outside. Gavin Edwards. There's the 5th foul by Lazar Hayward. Not a lot there. It was the biggest shot of the game up until those free throws by Johnson Odom. That put UConn up 3. And Johnson Odom, though, came back down, got fouled on a 3-point shot, and tied it up.
Marquette at 3-5, 12 league wins last year. 4 straight years, the Golden Eagles have reached at least 10 wins in the Big East Conference. Right now, they're deadlocked at 68. They have the ball with 12.6. If they should win the game, they're 4-5. UConn needs the win to climb back to 500 at 4-4. Buzz is going to use up another one as he checks out UConn's defense, Mike.
That's exactly what he wanted to see. He'll go back in, see if he changes the play or not, or if UConn switches. I think they'll stay man-to-man. It's a man-to-man defensive team. They're not going to change that.
Marquette coming off the big win over Rutgers, lopsided win, I should say, and UConn, after beating Texas, losing to Providence. And before that Providence game, George Blaney told his Huskies, he said, you know, that Texas game is something you can cherish, remember for the rest of your life. But if you don't show up and play well against Providence, you can forget about it, kick it out the door. Well, they lost to Providence by 15. And Coach Blaney was saying he felt like the team was ready here today. And both these two teams, it's been a slugfest, back and forth. Jimmy Butler.
Boy, the middle of the court wide open for a drive.
5 on the shot clock. Butler, fadeaway, he's got it! Jimmy Butler with 2.8.
What a shot by Jimmy Butler.
There was a whistle down on the floor, or out on the floor, right in front of the Marquette bench. So Marquette, Buzz was talking with Brian O'Connell.
We're going to get the ball right there on the floor, almost in front of the Marquette bench. Take a look. I mentioned the middle of the floor just wide open. UConn obviously electing to cover the shooters. You see here, look at the paint area just wide open. Jimmy Butler sees that, takes Edwards off the dribble. What a finish. The hang in the air. A huge shot by Jimmy Butler.
Butler comes in averaging 15, about 7 rebounds a game. That shot gives him 21.
Well, there's a Marquette team that has had some heartbreak at the end of games. Finally sees one drop for themselves. Now they've got to get a stop. Just over 2 seconds to play. That's plenty of time to get 1 or 2 dribbles and a shot off. Preferably for UConn, you get something going at your own basket. And you go back to the size advantage as well. Lazar Hayward on the bench. Some big guys, a chance to throw it down into the post.
Marquette with 3 wins, 62-59 over Georgetown, lopsided wins over Providence and Rutgers. But if they can hold on now, win this one from the XL Center, this may be their most impressive, because this is, as we said at the top of the broadcast, this is probably a must-win situation for both schools.
Well, absolutely. For Marquette, got the win over Georgetown, as you mentioned, but a chance here on the road. They look great on their resume.
UConn still has some tough road trips coming up in Big East play, including Villanova, West Virginia. Monday they go to Louisville for a big Monday matchup. Here we go. Kemba Walker. And that's going to be it. The Golden Eagles of Marquette going on the road and picking up a huge, huge win here in the XL Center, 70-68 over UConn. All right, Mike, your final comments on the game.
I tell you what a great game by Marquette. They came out ready to play. They shared the ball so well. I thought half court offensively, especially in that first half, they were sensational. They finished strong. They hit the big shots, and they did it all without Lazar Hayward for the last few minutes of this game. Buzz Williams has got to be pleased with his players' effort. For UConn, another tough loss in a season of tough losses.
Marquette goes to 4-5. The Huskies now 3-5. Once again, 70-68. A reminder to catch more exciting action with the Big East Network Game of the Week next Saturday as Marquette heads for Providence. For more information on the Big East Network, log on to ESPNplus.com. The preceding has been an exclusive presentation of ESPN Regional Television, the worldwide leader in collegiate sports. Jimmy Butler with the huge shot. He finishes with 21. Marquette wins at 70-68. For Mike Kelly, Mike Leeson saying so long from Hartford, Connecticut.